Welcome everyone to Pop Goes Big Brother Canada. I'm here with Julsy as always. Julsy, how you doing?
Hey, doing great.
Good, awesome. So what a crazy week we had. The craziest week in Big Brother history. I don't care what version of Big Brother you watch, whether it's US, whether it's BBUK, Australia, whatever. Unprecedented. I'm so excited I can't even speak. Triple eviction that went down during the week. We'll get back to that, but we're going to round up the week. So we're going to talk everything from Sunday's episode that led towards the triple eviction throughout the week. So we started off the week on Sunday. We had the HOH competition. It was down to final two. It was down to Zach and Kevin. And I was really hoping that Zach wouldn't win this because we needed some new structure in the house. I'm tired of seeing him in power. And Kevin wins HOH, which I was ecstatic about at that time. What about you? How did you feel that HOH competition went? I know it was kind of a quick one.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather see Kevin than Zach any day. So, yeah, I mean, I was glad about that.
Yeah. So, yeah, it worked out in our favor at that point. But then a really interesting that was happening was Zach was really pushing for Godfrey to stay at that time. Kevin wasn't, I believe, but I think that's when Kevin realized that Zach is really playing for himself, that that's just best for Zach's game. And I think we kind of realized as fans that it doesn't matter who's HOH. It's almost like Zach just tells him what he wants to be done.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely Zach just I don't know what it is about Zach, but it seems like everybody in the whole house just wants Zach on their side for some reason. I don't get it. I mean, what in the world?
I don't get it either. Like, are we missing something? Like,
yeah,
I don't get it. I'm sure, he's a physical threat, and I don't know, but I just don't get it. I really don't understand. But on the flip side, what Kevin wanted Bobby to be on the block. So that was Kevin's target. So it was interesting to see the two say, okay, I want this person, I want this person. They're supposed to be working together, but you can tell right away that they're kind of on opposites right now.
Well, and see, even for Kevin, I mean, for Kevin, I'm thinking he is one of the very smart strategic players from day one. And I don't even get why he targeted Bobby, even though it was his plan. He wanted the whole house to think he was targeting Godfrey. And it was the whole plan all along, which he got what he wanted. But I'm sitting here thinking, Bobby was no threat at all whatsoever. I don't get what a big threat Bobby was. I don't get it.
I don't know if he looks so physically threatening in a way. Like, I guess because people knew he was a rock climber as well. So are they thinking they're putting two together? But as the weeks go on in that house, you got to realize, okay, this guy's not as big as a threat as we may have thought he was in the beginning. He doesn't do anything.
He's a complete doofus. He's a doofus.
Yeah.
That's the only word
He's
a doofus.
That is the perfect word. He is a doofus because anytime you saw him, he was kind of like aloof and really didn't know what was going on. And that's perfect. He was a doofus. He was a doofus this season.
Yes.
And it was kind of bad because I remember speaking about this when the show first started, and I had high hopes for Bobby, but it went downhill from there. What I really loved about this episode as well is going back to Sundays is that we saw Sarah and Willow connecting in a new way that we haven't seen before and planning down the line. The great thing about this is as Sarah feels that the couples are a huge threat. They feel that they're a threat. And I really like how Sarah's catching on to everything and has Willow on her side, but she's not letting everyone know, like, oh, I know what's going on here, or making it as big and as obvious to try to break up the couples, let's say as Godfrey was in his speeches and whatnot. I kind of like how Sarah's playing both sides, and I kind of like how Sarah was playing Willow.
Yeah, I do too. I think they really had a bond, but I think the bond they had was more outside of the game than inside the game. I really do. I think they connected on a personal level, and I don't think it really had much to do with game at all, because before they made that connection, they already had kind of set their path in the house with, Sarah and being close to Brittany, and Willow being in the whole chop shop thing from the, nearly the beginning. So I think they connected a little bit too late in the game. So
That's a great analogy. And if you look at it from that way as well, you can really see that I think it was more of a personal, emotional level that
Right.
they really connected. It
Right.
wasn't strategy, it wasn't gameplay as much. So
Right.
that's a very good point. You can definitely see that. That's a very good point. Let's talk about we have me and my buddies, we have a saying where if you do something stupid and we're all hanging out, we have a quote called uh, NON, and that's called like Nimrod of the night, like idiot of the night, and
Nimrod.
Nimrod of the night. So, so if someone says something really stupid, like just obvious, you're an NON. So this episode's NON has to be Bobby. He voluntarily says, I will go up on the block. No one pressured him into doing it. They were just kind of talking, what ifs and who I'll go up. Who in their right mind will go up on the block voluntarily? I don't get it. You want to do everything you can to stay off the block, and here he is, perfect word again, Julsy, the doofus. I'll go up on the block. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, and let's flush out my fake veto power of whatever.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
This guy is a joke almost.
I think he probably went in thinking, oh, I'm going to do this and I got this planned, and who knows what was going on in that head. Obviously things didn't click in and it just didn't make any sense. So he volunteers to go up. Kevin is sitting pretty right now. Kevin, for what's going on in his week or what he wanted to do, his plan, as soon as Bobby's like, oh, I'll go up. Kevin's very smart. It clicked, and he was like, beautiful. I didn't even have to tell Bobby, hey, dude, I'm putting you up. That is a perfect case scenario as an HOH, where you have someone that volunteers to go up. So that was pretty awesome. And then during that Sunday's episode, we also had that fortune reading, which I thought was kind of cool. It was kind of a unique, fun little game that they were doing, and they kind of traded off. So I think the aspect of the game was they would say, Kevin would say a rhyme or a riddle, and the house guests would have to put the card of who they thought it best matched to. But then what happens was you're awarded with the prize or whatever it may have been, but you can trade off if need be. So the kind of what I've written down here, I want to see if I maybe did this all right. Peely trades with Godfrey to get the lobster costume. Zach is a masseuse for the week, which Ashley loved. And, that's not hard to be a masseuse if you're rubbing down girls like Ashley. Willow, really, right? Willow gets to write a letter to jury, which I thought was really cool. And I want to go back to that after all of that. Bobby wears slop boots, which I thought were absolutely disgusting. And being in those things, like feeling everything between your toes, and I don't want to rip them off right away. I wouldn't be able, as easy as that sounds, like that's got to be annoying.
It's nasty, yeah.
It's nasty, right? Brittany wins a whole $42. if anything were to happen, and let's say she doesn't get far in the game, at least she's getting out of there with almost $50. So that works out. And then Sarah gets a slot pass. So in this whole scenario, Sarah and Willow are pretty much the winners of this whole kind of game. Going back to Willow, she gets to write a letter to jury. Absolutely amazing. And this year we've seen a lot of things that Big Brother Canada has done where it's unprecedented, and it's a way where when Cindy was in the jury, she got to go back in the house, but she came back with information for the house guests. Willow gets to give that information to the house guests and let them know everything. I was kind of hoping, I'm not going to lie, when Willow got the letter, I was like, I really hope someone trades with her. Someone that letter may do a lot more for them in the long run. But Willow was smart. She wrote down, in terms of like personal gain, she wrote down that she was kind of abandoned the chop shop and partnered in with Sarah because it was best for her game. So she's kind of doing the smart thing, hopefully. What do you think about that game that they had going on there?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was pretty cool. I can't believe Peely wanted the lobster suit. I mean, again, Peely, they really picked some winners this year. Bobby and Peely together are just, wow.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't. I'm with you. I don't get on that one. So maybe they're thinking an aspect, hey, this will be good TV because these ones are so, in their own world maybe and whatever. But you're right. They picked some interesting characters this year.
Yes, they did.
Going back to that episode as well, what's great about this episode is Kevin tells Brittany straight up that she'll be on the block with Bobby, and we kind of see Brittany get really upset, and she said that she doesn't know why people don't want to ruffle any feathers and don't want to play the game, and they're using her as the pawn. So it was known as the Pawn Star, and that became famous in season 1. You know, that would bug me too if everyone kept on coming up to me being like, you know what, I don't see you as a threat. You're the best pawn. You know, is that all I have to offer? I'm just sitting here. Like, come on. But you know what? Give it up to Kevin. He told her right off the bat, and that's kind of how it was. But I'm hoping down the line, Brittany, she plays her own game. Hopefully, she starts ruffling some feathers, and we'll see what happens from there. But the great thing about that as well is Kevin was very upfront in his HOH reign. He also tells Godfrey that Zach thinks that he's backdooring him, which I thought was interesting. And if you can tell anyone in that house, besides Bruno, I would say Godfrey would be the person you want to tell, because he won't keep that a secret very long.
Right.
He's boisterous. He's outgoing. He's a physical threat as well, and he'll make it known. I liked why that he was backdooring him, but lets him know the plan is to actually backstab and backdoor Bobby. And I thought that was really interesting, because we kind of know that Godfrey's aligned with the guys, but we really don't see him talking that much game with anyone really. So I thought that was interesting that it happened. How'd you feel about that?
Yeah, I thought it was smart on Kevin's part, because now, moving forward, Godfrey kind of owes him one because he kept him safe and he's not a target. But I don't get Kevin's nomination. Like we said earlier, Bobby's truly no threat, and I don't understand where they thought the big threat with Bobby came into play. Because I certainly didn't see that at all. But and then Brittany, like you said, being the pawn. I'm just surprised that Kevin took the easy way.
I know. I was hoping when he won HOH, I was, what? I'm like, okay, sweet. This is going to be a big week. He's going to do some big things. Like, if anyone in the house isn't afraid to, get their hands dirty, or as they say, they don't want blood on their hands. But if anyone wants to get blood on their hands, it would have been Kevin. And I felt like he would have made some really big moves.
Exactly.
Right? So that was a little disappointing on his end, where sure, his plan may be to backdoor Bobby, but I think you've got bigger physical threats that you have to worry about, or even social game threats, or, than Bobby would have been. So right. Brittany and Bobby are on the block for the two that are be going up. And that caps off Sunday's episode. Then we start off with Monday. The big thing that I liked about this was, at one time, Kevin, on this episode now that we go over a couple days, Kevin was actually eyeing Bruno to be backdoored as a possibility. Which, as this week started going by, I was like, okay, I can kind of see that. Where, deep in my head, if anyone's playing a really good social game, it would be Bruno. I think at this point, I think he's doing a really great job.
Yep. And there's your big target right there. Exactly. If you're not aligned with Bruno, you should be wanting Bruno out of the house. So yes. Why I don't understand why he went for Bobby and not Bruno.
Yeah, I don't get that, because if anything, you would think Bruno would. Not Bruno. Bobby would be the easier one. Should anything go down or happen in the house, he'd be a lot easier to persuade, or probably get over to my side.
Right, and you could get him out at any time. I mean, he is the easy out. Yep. Absolutely.
So yeah, that was really weird. And another thing that kind of goes on towards Zach is only doing what he wants in his game. Is Zach was really stubborn in this, and talking to Kevin, that he wanted Godfrey gone. He wanted to eliminate Godfrey, and we really saw Zach's true emotion, or true character, where he's strictly playing this for himself. Even if you want, let's say, even if you want Godfrey to be out that week, you're not as transparent as you are when you're HOH. Sure, do whatever you want. You got reign of the house. But I don't think you should have been that transparent to someone that's HOH, or when he's not in power. People are seeing right through that. At least Kevin is, and Kevin was smart to see that.
Yeah. And, maybe that's why he is hanging with Zach, because I guess he felt like he, pretty much had the control over Zach and could kind of sway him into kind of like he obviously did, he didn't like it, not one little bit, but he got Zach to understanding why they needed to vote out, or take out Bobby instead of Godfrey. So, I mean, he made it work. He made it happen, but it didn't help him in the long run.
No, not at all. And going from that episode, we had a really cool, interesting POV ceremony, competition, POV competition that happened. And it was called Delivering the Goods. So the idea of it was the house guests had a mock-up of a living area set up with all furniture and all that kind of good stuff. And they had to be able to swing. And there's a fence dividing the backyard. And on the opposite side was the opposite side was the set up living room, and then on their side was all the parts that are kind of put together. But the only way for them to see this is as they go on the swing and they reach that height level that goes over the fence, they've got to peek over real quick on one side, they got to peek over real quick on the other side, and see the two and match them up by memory. And I thought this was a really interesting, unique competition. Big Brother Canada has been blowing it out of the water this year with their competitions. They've all been really interesting. Even the match game one with the KFC match game was fun to watch. So they're doing a really great job with that. But really cool POV competition. We've seen some people struggle. I think Peely had to actually give up because she was so sick from that swing.
Yeah. I mean, they really had to swing high. I mean, high to even be able to see over that wall. So, I mean, it's hard to imagine swinging can cause you to be that sick, but when you have to go that high and just back and forth and keep focusing, I think maybe the focusing while swinging is,
absolutely. I think the focusing, like you're saying, looking one way, looking the other, like trying to remember, even doing that just like this, you'll start to get dizzy.
Right.
Can you imagine being up in the air and feeling that force pulling you back down? So a lot of people were on Twitter were kind of bashing them, like, "Oh my God, this is so easy."
Right.
But like Johnny said last week when we had him on, you sure think it's easy watching it, but when you're doing it, every competition he said was an absolute beast. Like he said they were hard. So it's always one thing watching and being a spectator.
And it wasn't just one of them sick. I mean, almost every one of them were really getting sick, and Kevin fought through it, but I mean, he was bad. Like he looked really green there.
He was dry heaving as he was putting like the chairs and stuff away.
Right.
So that was a really interesting, cool kind of competition. It was interesting to watch.
Right.
Bobby really struggled with it. Peely got sick, as we mentioned. But at the end of it, Kevin wins POV. But on top of that, for completing the task, he won 10 grand, which I thought was a nice little cool thing, an extra little bonus in his pocket. That's like nothing to sneeze at. That's some pretty good change there.
That was great. And I want to back up just a little bit. We have to talk about, and kudos again to Canada. I mean, USA has got to start taking some tips from Canada. I'm not kidding. Okay.
Sing it. I'm gonna make you proud. Yes.
Just for sleeping a little bit too much. Madame Claudette and Madame Gabrielle. I mean, that was beautiful. Yeah. Who comes up with this stuff? It was amazing. That was
I think it's the Canadian sense of humor. Like they've got some pretty great people on crew, so it has to be the Canadian sense of humor that's making this part on the show. But it's fabulous. I can't believe I forgot about that. Yeah, it was great.
That was awesome.
They had to clean up and be everyone's slaves and all that kind of stuff. So that was pretty cool.
And all in heels, high heels. That is so funny.
High heels. Yeah, and that's actually my next note, that they had to be punished. Miss Claudette and what was the other one's name? Miss Claudette and what was the
Claudette and Gabrielle.
Gabrielle, yes.
Yes. So and the little ruffled panties. I mean, that just topped it off. I mean, how great was that?
Yeah, the outfits were top notch. Like they were like out there. But the great thing I loved about it was like Godfrey really took advantage of this. He was like, hey, I need this done. And I think at one point he said he needed like, I think it was his toenails clipped. His toenails clipped. Oh my God, can you imagine?
That's the worst.
So he did a really great job of listening, being like, hey, I'm taking advantage of this. They're on my beck and call. And kudos for him for doing that. Like, hey,
that was
part of the game, right? So that was fantastic. So this week we had a lot of laugh out loud moments, a lot of entertaining moments, a lot of funny moments, which was fantastic. And I think they probably did that too because they knew Wednesday was going to be such a heavy show. So they probably said spice it up a little bit more with that. So that was great. And then afterwards, we see everyone talking more game, and Kevin actually tells Godfrey to go along with the plan that he is going to get backdoored. So Godfrey, you can see on his face right away, he looked ecstatic. He's like, "Oh my God, what are you talking about? I'm not the target."
Right.
And then Godfrey knew that he was going for Bobby. So, you know what? If Godfrey plays his cards right, to be honest with you, I'm not surprised he hasn't been out as early as past seasons, because usually the person with like a big mouth and like, you know what I mean, is always the one where people go after, like, "Oh, this guy's the target. I want to get him out of here." But a lot of times they're more talk as opposed to action. They're more saying as opposed to doing.
Right.
And Godfrey's won one POV, but he hasn't won an HOH yet.
No.
So it'll be nice to see if he wins HOH what happens, but at least Godfrey knew he was in the good books. Kevin also tells Zach that he's planning to target Bobby and Bruno to be backdoored instead of Godfrey. So Kevin led Zach in on that as well. Again, Zach didn't look too pleased about it, but what are you going to do, buddy? You're not HOH, and this is Kevin's week. The one thing I liked in the ceremony was Kevin doesn't use the POV. At first, I thought he was going to. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought maybe he was going to use it just to change at least one of the nominations and maybe put Bruno up with Bobby to ensure that at least one of them would be gone. But
see, that's what I was thinking. Why is he? I mean, again, using the easy way with putting Brittany up as a pawn. That just blew my mind that he didn't put two people up that he truly wanted gone that were a big threat. You know, why not? He had the power. Why not use it? I don't get that. Hoping he did now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But even what it will show other people is that that you should be taken seriously. Sure, I'll put a target on your back, but if I was HOH and I won veto and I thought, you know what, I'm using the POV, I'm going to take Brittany off and I'm going to put in Bruno up. It's not like they've been working together since the show started. It's not like they've been talking game a lot.
Right.
At any point in a given time, you're going to have to turn on people and start with this person that you're not even connected with.
Yep.
You know? So we talk about it all the time. We thought that was very interesting. And
he could have used an excuse. Okay, you guys have been close since day one, since the beginning, so I got to break you two up. I mean, and that wouldn't have put so much blood on his hands because everybody would have understood, you know, one of the two of you between Bobby and Bruno, one of the two you have to go. So that would have been an easy out for Kevin putting Bruno up, and he didn't do it. So
there's a lot of head scratchers. It's easy for us to see it and because to see it all unfold. But I could just imagine the state of paranoia and thinking like, okay, it's pretty much a chess game. If I do this week, what's going to happen? What's going to be the backlash going on afterwards? So,
right.
It'd be interesting to see.
All right. Moving into this, Wednesday night's show, before we get into the whole triple eviction thing, I have to say that I got complete spoilers an hour before the show. Okay.
No.
But let me tell you something.
Yeah.
This show was so absolutely mind-boggling crazy that I didn't even believe the spoilers that I read.
No
I had
way.
to watch the show I was like, no way did that happen. Absolutely not. There's no way that happened. So I had to watch the show, even having spoilers. I did not believe what went down.
Wow. And that's a testament to the show.
Oh my God. You know how we always say, the whole USA Big Brother is expect the unexpected, and it's never unexpected. It's always the same thing that you expect to see come and happens, but not Canada. I'm telling you, I was blown away. Couldn't believe it.
And I'm really glad that they've kind of adopted that as well, is because I think the first two seasons they really didn't use the tagline that much, but this season they're going with it. They're like, you know what? It's Big Brother. It's Big Brother around the world.
Yeah,
we know it of the U.S. because there've been so many seasons. So you do expect the unexpected, and Arissa's actually said that as well in terms of on the side shows and the recap show and even the live shows is expect the unexpected, and that's exactly what happens. So that's great that you still watch it even after knowing the spoilers, because I think that is such a testament to how fantastic the show is going this season and all the surprises and the twists. And it just makes for great TV. And even though you knew what happened, you're like, I gotta tune in to see this. Like,
I didn't
that's
believe
almost
it. I was
unbelievable.
like, no, somebody's got some wrong information. That did not happen.
Yeah, like somebody put the wrong person, the wrong
But
house
it
guest
did.
star. Wow.
Well, you can't always believe sources anyway.
Right.
So, but I was like, no way, that's not possible. That cannot be a real spoiler. And damn if it wasn't.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's great TV. That's amazing. You can't write it any better.
Exactly.
Like, you can't write it any better. Yeah, so we had the POV ceremony, and this was alluding to what you said earlier. Doofus Bobby takes out, I don't know, where did you find this thing? Was it like a piece of like, looked like a piece of plastic or some kind, do you break off a coat hanger? I don't know what this
That's
thing
what I
was.
thought. A hanger, like the end of a hanger.
We got the good similar minds, Julsy. Yeah, like where did he get this thing? And he stands up. The ceremony is going to be adjourned. He stands up, very just anticlimactic. People were like, "What's going on?" And he couldn't even get the words out of his mouth. He was just kind of laughing because he knew how stupid it was, and he just threw down this piece of plastic and was like, "Well, this thing didn't save me. Like, only saved me for a week or so. So you guys didn't try me. I don't have this secret power." And right there, you can see everyone's head. Ashley was covering her face. People were covering up. And you can see everyone in that moment thought, oh my God, I believed this doofus.
Right.
I believe this guy.
Right.
I think that was one of the most anticlimactic POVs ever.
Yeah. And the doofus thought that little plastic piece actually saved him the week before. Seriously?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it didn't.
He wasn't even in danger the week before, was he?
No. I think maybe they might have, maybe he thought he was going to be in danger or something, but nothing even, no. Yeah, doofus.
Yeah.
That's all
and
I gotta
then
say.
he thinks I'm in danger, so let's volunteer to go on the block. I mean,
because that makes so much sense, doesn't it? Dear Lord, we can fill. I was gonna say we can fill a whole episode just trying to wrap our heads around Bobby, but we'll see. It'll be interesting to see if we can get him for an interview because I want to see what's going on in this guy's head just to see what he was thinking. So going out of that anticlimactic POV, we've got now the eviction episode. And this is the motherlode. This is what people have been waiting for the whole week. I think it was going to be really interesting. What people were waiting for is because, yeah, it was a triple eviction, but I think majority of the fans were like, how are they going to do this in one episode? Double evictions, you play out the week as if it was the week in Big Brother. You have your ceremony, you have your POV, you have your HOH, you have your nomination ceremony, you have your POV, and then you have your eviction. Mm-hmm. I thought it would be kind of cool. Some people were like, oh, you know what they'll probably do is they'll probably say it's going to be a double eviction, have the double eviction go through because you got to play it out, and then Arissa would be like, oh, expect it, it's going to be a triple eviction instead. But I like the way that they did it because it made sense for terms of time of what they had for the hour. But it made it, how cool was it to see 3 people on the chopping block? I thought that was cool to see 3 people at once.
Yeah, I didn't know. I don't know if I liked Brittany, having the power to nominate 3 people. Yeah. That was a little bit different for me. And then on the fly also, like she had a commercial break to figure out who 3, not 2, but 3 people she was going to put up. So, I mean, that was mind blowing in itself. But yeah, I'm not sure how I felt about, one person being able to put up 3 people. That was new. And that's like, wow.
Yeah. That's a lot of power to have. Like that's a lot of power for a very small period of time. Yeah, when that episode started, we kind of see Brittany talking to Sarah and seeing if she has the votes to stay, and she's a little bit worried. I think deep down, Brittany probably is aware or has an inclination that Sarah's possibly a lot closer to Willow at this point. And I feel like Brittany, I don't know, I feel like she's kind of in a little raft of her own. She's got Sarah, but at this point, is kind of like it can go either way. I loved how Kevin tells Peely that another LOL moment of this episode. Kevin and Peely are in bed, and Kevin says that he loves Peely.
He let that slip.
He really let that slip. He totally, as he said it, and she was like, you what? And right away you just saw him go like, and he backtracks and says that he cares about her.
Right.
And
And
that's when
funny because usually it's like the needy kind of girl who lets it slip really early in a relationship. I mean, especially for a man, that was wow.
yeah. Yeah, that was quite yeah, I thought that was funny, but as he did it, I was like, oh man, he really just kind of dug himself in there.
Yeah.
But I thought that was hilarious. That was a real funny moment. Um, I liked how Willow tried in this episode as well to tell Sarah to keep Bobby is better for their game as a unit.
Right.
And that he'll go after couples as well. And that's kind of what they wanted to do. We saw, because apparently he's a comp beast.
Right.
Apparently.
No.
But
Okay.
but yeah, okay, sure, whatever you say, guys. Well, Willow saying it, so I don't know. But
See, where
I
are they
kind of like.
getting that from? Where did they see that?
I don't understand. I don't get it. Like, has he been like Bobby is just this whole aura around him now in this whole episode? Has he been like in the finals of like every comp? No. Like, I don't get it. He's not always near the end. Again, another mystery. We should have an episode. Remember Unsolved Mysteries?
Yeah.
They should have an episode of Unsolved Mysteries and have it for Bobby's performance in Big Brother for this season.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, I thought Willow's game. I thought it was nice to actually see Willow talk game and kind of bring that up to Sarah. So it was kind of cool to see their dynamic together, which I liked because you didn't see that. So it was refreshing to see. I like, this is the part of the show where it got interesting. The girls are in the hot tub or in the backyard, and Bobby overhears Willow telling Ashley that she's not in the chop shop anymore and that she had stopped the chop shop. So I thought that was pretty interesting that we got that kind of look and we saw, okay, what Bobby had. So now Bobby's got some ammo. So Bobby now goes to Bruno, and they're in the washroom, and he tells them what happened, and Bruno verifies the possibility. They verify the possibility of an all-girls alliance. If they're talking like this, why are they talking to each other? Why are they doing this? So right away, their paranoia goes up, and they're like, dude, there's probably an all-girl alliance going on.
Right.
On the flip side, we see Bobby is then in the hot tub, and Godfrey and Zach are with him, and he tells them what they overheard, and Zach looks shocked. Like, Zach looks pretty shocked that were to happen, and I think a piece of him might have felt hurt to think that Ashley would cut his side with the girls and kind of forget about him. I thought that was pretty interesting. What did you think about that whole dynamic of the Bobby overhearing and then the guys talking about it?
Yeah, I mean, the girls overhearing the guys, I don't think played that much into anything, but Bobby overhearing the girls, I think that literally changed the game.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I think because of that happening, I believe that is why things went so differently than we expected them to go during that whole triple eviction. Yes. I think because of that one incident, Bobby overhearing the girls' conversation, I truly believe that is what changed the game.
And very well said, because you are absolutely right. That's kind of what happened. I hope Sunday's episode is more of a recap of what happened in Eviction, like a recap of what actually happened in Eviction night, but also showing us stuff that we didn't get to see on that Eviction episode.
Right.
And hopefully show us, okay, is there this big split now? Is there girls versus guys? Or like what's happening there? So it'll be interesting to see Sunday's episode for sure.
Yeah. I really think that's the only reason that Bruno saved Zach, because of the threat of the all-girls alliance. I really do.
That is, I've been trying to think about scenarios, and you talk to people with work about it that watch the show as well, and what have you. That is the only thing that makes sense.
Yep.
That he would do that, because he would want the numbers on his side. He would want an extra guy on his side. So that's the only thing I can think of, because I could see Bruno more aligning with down the line, maybe like a Sarah type, or another, or even like a Brittany, like. If Brittany and Bruno and I don't know how else, Kevin, like if Brittany, Bruno, and Sarah can like form something. Yeah. Because if Zach and Ashley were to be on their own, they could form something and then get them out. But yeah, you're right. That's the only thing that really makes sense. So we'll get to that. But yeah, that was still a question mark, and hopefully they show more for Sunday's episode. And then we see on the flip side, the girls eavesdropping and on the guys. and they overhear a lot of stuff. So it was kind of a whole big back and forth. So hopefully they're really setting up for this. And then it shows footage of the jury house in this eviction episode, which was, talk about entertaining. JP's there by himself. Cindy with an S comes in. He's ecstatic to see her. He's so happy, but sad that she's not in the game, but, and then, just tells them, I was pretty much the sole reason why you were evicted. And the great thing was JP was like, oh, I know who voted against me. So-and-so, so-and-so. And then she was like, and not you. And she's like, yeah, in fact, I campaigned the whole week to get you out. He was pissed.
Oh, he was pissed.
Livid.
Yes.
So that's where I think she went to go, like, say, oh, JP or something, like, went to go put her hand, like, on his leg or his foot. And he was just like, immediate reaction, like, get away from me. And he's
don't
just
touch me.
His veins popping in his neck when he was like what are you talking about? So that was fantastic. I don't know. I wouldn't want to be there in that jury house. I'm sure it's moved over by now, but initially
that's
pretty tough.
Yes, he was really pissed.
He was, but at the same time, I think if anyone would understand, it would be JP, because he was such a super fan of the show. You can see in the long run, the time heals all wounds. Who knows how long this one will take, but it will.
Right.
So that was interesting to see.
And it would have been better, if it had have worked in Cindy with an S in her favor, but it didn't. So, it really didn't help her at all. So
yeah, if it worked
that makes it even worse.
That would have been. It makes it even worse, but that would have been like the single best move ever this season. It would have changed
if it worked. Yeah.
If it worked, that's right. So we're up to our first eviction. Bobby, unanimous vote, out the door. Again, good riddance, doofus. I don't think a lot of people were too concerned about it. We kind of knew it was coming. But Bobby was the first one gone.
Yeah, even with Arissa's questions outside, he still, it's like he was totally off in left field, and with what she was asking him and stuff, I'm like, oh my God, this guy, what in the world? Does he know what show he was on? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's Unsolved Mysteries. I'm telling you, it's Unsolved Mysteries of Big Brother Canada. So first eviction, Bobby's gone out there, unanimous vote. Now we have an HOH comp, and this is the one that Brittany wins. So it was like a quick trivia style HOH comp. Right away, they tell them go into the fan room. She has to nominate 3 people for eviction. So Rick drops the bomb, the double eviction.
Mm-hmm.
I think jaws are on the floor.
Yep.
It was really, really intense in terms of watching it. And from that moment, you can just feel that intensity. And it was fantastic TV.
And look, I had to say, okay, these guys did not learn the first time that putting Brittany as the pawn week after week. She won an HOH after that. And then she's going to continue back in the process of being pawn over and over again. They had to know it was going to come back to bite them. So I can't believe they did it again. Brittany is a strong player. Her being pawn over and over and over is going to come back and bite you. She did it before, and now she's done it again. So don't mess with Brittany.
Oh, we got some difficult.
Yeah, a little bit of difficult.
That's what are you doing to us? There's no way for this to go through. Julsy, are you there?
There we go.
Okay, it was just a bad. I saw the screen glitching. I think it was just a bad Google Plus connection.
Yeah, we're back.
Okay, so she nominated Zach, Kevin, and Peely. And then what were you saying? Because we were saying it was best for Brittany's game. Go ahead and reiterate what you just said.
Yeah, I was just saying they have to know that Brittany won an HOH before, okay, after weeks of being put up as a pawn, and came after the big dogs, okay? It bit them in the butt all the weeks of using her as a pawn. They had to know this was going to happen again, okay? Brittany is a pretty strong player. So especially Kevin. Again, I can't believe Kevin did not know that using Brittany as a pawn might come back and bite him in the butt. Okay.
Yes.
Which is exactly what happened.
Yeah, and that's Big Brother. You're in power one week, and that person you're targeting, if they stay in the house, most likely you're their next target if they get into power.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what happened. That's the perfect case scenario of a Big Brother competition.
Yeah, you use somebody as a pawn who never wins anything.
Yes, okay? Exactly.
You don't keep using somebody as a pawn that has won an HOH previously.
Use Peely as a pawn for goodness sake.
There you go.
Yes. If anyone from this season, Peely should be the pawn star, you know, but
right.
So, you know, hey, what are you gonna do? So now, you know, we have all that. We have the nominations. Then we have the actual POV ceremony, which I thought was pretty unique for a time-constrained competition. Sorry, was they have their workstations and they had the little gears, and they had to. I think they did the order of eviction of who was evicted, but the gears kind of went in kind of like a zigzag way. So I placed the gears on. First person to do it, go through, hit the buzzer, wins POV. Now, Bruno wins this POV, which came out of left field for me because it seemed like Arissa, in terms of everyone else that was watching this POV, was more concentrated on Zach and Kevin.
I thought the same thing.
Right?
I thought the same thing because she kept saying Zach and Kevin are in the lead, and then all of a sudden, boom, Bruno wins it. I'm like, what?
Yeah. I was watching with my fiance, and she was like, "Hold on a second, was Bruno even?" We didn't hear anything about Bruno. I was like,
right.
I think she was they were probably too focused on what was happening with Kevin and Zach. But yeah, Bruno wins it. Which, you know what? When he won it, I was like, okay, you know, that's good. I like Bruno. Let's see where this goes. And then we're down to the POV ceremony, and he saves Zach. So again, it was a huge question mark as he did it. Like, I was on Twitter as it was going on.
Nobody saw that coming. Nobody
saw it coming. And even house guests of like past seasons that I follow were like, "What did Bruno just do?" Like, in shock, an absolute shock that he used it to save Zach. So as we said, the only thing we can think of is there is a split and divide in the house with girls versus guys, or Bruno's just playing strictly for his game. He thinks, you know what, I can get Zach on my side. He's tough. Well, it's tough to a degree. He's physical. He wins a lot of competitions. If I save him, let's say there wasn't even a girl versus guys split. Let's say in Bruno's mindset, if he saves them, he's going to be able to, when he's in power, most likely not put me up because I saved him from a triple eviction, from an instant eviction night, triple eviction. He would have been out the door, I think.
Yeah.
It would have been Kevin and Zach for sure.
Yeah.
So that you know, for gameplay and strategy wise, that makes a lot of sense for Bruno. Just in the moment, it was just. I even think about it now. I'm like, what?
But the other thing I think I thought about, Bruno might have been thinking he just lost Bobby, and he's had this very tight. You know, everybody in the house don't know as tight as he's been with Godfrey, but they do know about how tight he's been with Bobby. So he has had, you know, a bro here on this side and a bro here on that side. So he just lost Bobby. So I'm thinking maybe he thinks he needs Zach, you know, because now he doesn't have Bobby. So maybe. Yeah.
You're right. That's a perfect thing, because if you think about it, before he had Craig on his side, which was a lost cause. And then he went to Bobby, right? And then he went to Bobby, and now he's kind of with Godfrey a little bit, but now that makes sense. And now he's going to go Zach. So, hey, if Bruno can get to the end, he's got a great plan to say, let's say he's sitting final 2, and he goes, you know what? I had to adapt every time I kind of made a alliance with someone and they got voted out. He can say, I had to adapt and change my whole game. And then I, you know, went from Craig, I went to Bobby, and then I went to Godfrey or Zach or whatever it may be. So this may be great for Zach's game down the line. So save Zach. Brittany has to nominate a replacement nominee, and she chose Willow, because I think deep down Brittany knows how close Willow and Sarah were getting, and I think that was personal and gameplay for Brittany. She was really looking out for her own game. Was like, you know what?
Yep.
I want Sarah back on my side, and I want to be able to work with her. I need to get Willow, and I think that was smart on her end. A lot of people were upset at Brittany, but I thought that was smart.
Yeah, I mean, for Brittany's game, that was the smartest thing to do. I mean, honestly, it really was. I mean, I hated to see it. I like Willow, and I think they could have gone. The girls really needed each other because obviously the guys now think there is a girls thing. I don't know that the girls even realize they were overheard and the guys even think this. But I mean, I think the girls should have stuck together. But if you're in the mind frame of Brittany, she did the best thing for her own game. And, she was losing Sarah. Sarah was slipping away from her to Willow, and she knew it. And I mean, she needed her Sarah back.
She did. And she did what was right for a game, which I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah.
So the house guests had to go and vote. So all three of them are on the block. House guests now have to go and vote as who they want to save. And Arissa repeated this repeatedly, as we know from the first season classic, the whole Topaz incident. So anytime the vote changes and they have to vote to save someone, they make sure they say it multiple.
Everybody thought about Topaz when she repeated that request.
Everyone. And you know what? I feel bad for Topaz, but because she had a good showmance with Alec, and she kind of stayed the course for quite a while in the game, but she'll always be remembered as that girl that voted wrong on finale night to crown a winner. So poor girl. But so Arissa repeated, hey, you're voting for someone of who you want to save. And the majority of the vote won. And the majority of the vote voted for Peely to stay. Interesting was Sarah actually voting against Willow.
Yeah,
Right?
that was another like jaw dropper. It's like people, you see all the comments and everything on all the Big Brother groups and Twitter and everything, and it's like everybody's so confused. Why did Sarah vote out Willow? But she explained it that she thought others would vote out Willow and her vote wouldn't matter. So which that actually backfired as well, because her vote would have saved Willow, but she couldn't know that. She could not have known that. And maybe subconsciously, what I was saying earlier about her relationship with Willow as far as the game perspective came later, and she had a much tighter relationship with Brittany since the beginning. So I think maybe subconsciously, her game mind outweighed her personal with Willow. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah, it totally does. And all the points that I want to talk about as well. Is it makes sense for her game. The only thing that kind of bothered me was, I know she thought maybe her vote didn't matter, but it matters. You're voting whether you're voting who you want to evict or stay. But it was smart kind of gameplay on her part to think, okay, these people are probably going to vote this way, so I'm going to vote this other way to hopefully save that person. So it made sense. It'll be interesting to see once they get her in the DR, and once we see Sunday's episode as to what happened of she spills a bean as to why she voted that way, and I'm sure that was the reason. So a huge eviction episode. Craziness happened all around. It was fantastic, unprecedented in any Big Brother season. But the twists weren't done yet. So the show was pretty much over. Arissa was going to come back and, say her goodbyes and, come back next week and join us as she always does. But we have a new twist in the game. And what happens is Canada is going to vote of who they want to be have-nots for the week. So 2 people. However, there's a twist. Twist is that the 2 people that they vote, they are then going to compete for a prize, a special power that is hidden in the floor or in the room of the have-not room. And I thought that's a cool little twist to actually have. I hope at this point maybe it is like a coup d'etat that like Jeff had in Big Brother US, or like wasn't there like a diamond power veto at one time,
right?
Or something like that.
I mean, she said something about being able to change
Yes.
One, like they have to change one nomination, but they can change two.
Yes.
So that's going to be very
That's
interesting.
going to be interesting, and especially to see how the house goes after this triple eviction will be very interesting to see what happens. So they're keeping it fresh, keeping us on their toes. But let me tell you, if I was a house guest in this house, man, my game would have been shot long ago. And you constantly have to rewrite your gameplay every week. It's
Yeah,
insane.
it
It's
is.
insane. It's
Craziness
crazy.
going on constantly.
Craziness in the Big Brother Canada house. So it's been quite the ride. It's been amazing, and it's so fun to be able to talk about it. And that's why we have all these Google Hangouts and the web shows, and Pop Goes Big Brother Canada, and you have fans and of the show that have their online communities that are talking about it, and it's fantastic. And I think Big Brother Canada is really stepping their game up, and they're really showing Big Brother US, hey, this is kind of how you got to do it. Not how you
Well,
do it,
look,
but
and I wanted to ask you,
yeah.
while you're talking about that, Big Brother USA always has huge ratings. Always has. I mean, I can't imagine it not in the future because they keep renewing it because of such great ratings. How are the ratings in Canada?
Very, very good. For Big Brother US?
No,
Or
for
for Big Brother
Big
Canada?
Brother Canada, right?
Oh yeah, they're great. They're so good in the fact where the first two seasons they were on Slice. So the media company that owns Slice Channel is a paid channel. It's like an additional channel on your cable, so you have to pay for it. But it was so good and so popular that cable company that owns Slice also owns Global TV, and Global TV is where Big Brother Canada airs now this season. So they moved them over to Global. Global is the equivalent of what I would say NBC is in the States to what
So
for
like a
Canada.
prime time network.
It's primetime network.
Okay.
Global has, we show everything in terms of like Survivor and all the primetime comedies and the dramas and everything that the US has. It's on Global, majority of it.
Cool. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, so it really, when they made the announcement after last season, kind of between that they're moving over to Global, everyone in Canada knew it's going to be bigger, it's going to be better, they're going to step their game up even more, and it's been fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean, we Americans get so frustrated because South Americans not never mind, forget my geography.
Do you mean okay, I know what you meant in the region.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Also the Canadian border. We get so frustrated because you guys have always been able to watch our Big Brother, and we have to like do everything known to man trying to find a way to watch you guys.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit frustrating, but yeah, I wondered how well it was going. So hopefully it's going to last for a very long time.
I hope so too. And it would make, hopefully down the line they do something where maybe they partner in with with an American broadcaster and allows to show the shows, like, because they can have the global feed, so that way Global gets the recognition, but maybe show it on a US channel or something like that, or maybe makes it open. I know online, you can't watch the shows on the Big Brother Canada website because it's blocked with an IP address because you're in a different country. Same as me, like I love watching my Jimmy Fallon's or my Conan O'Brien and stuff. But if I go to the site, it will say this content's not available in your region, but I watch the YouTube channel, so then that way I'm okay. If I don't catch it live. So hopefully down the line, maybe they'll do something where you guys can watch it, because why not double your exposure, double your fan base?
Exactly.
Triple it, because in the States, Big Brother is so huge.
Yep, it sure is. It sure is. I don't understand why even like a cable network won't pick it up. I don't understand why.
I know with it's called the CRTC in Canada, which kind of regulates media and shows and stuff like that. I know we're a little bit more stricter in Canada in terms of that stuff, but hopefully that's something that changes down the line. That's what my hope is. The more people that can see Big Brother Canada and can watch and not go through these loopholes or watch it online like 2 hours later or the next day or something, the more people that are watching it live, it's going to be it would be fantastic. So hopefully that does come into fruition. What a crazy week. We kind of spoke our minds and rambled off, but it's been a lot of fun as always. And And we'll see you here not next week. I am actually going to be out of the country, so that's why I wanted to at least get this triple eviction episode covered, because I knew there was so much that was going to happen. But we'll see you everyone the following week, and look out for Twitter and look out for YouTube, where we'll share the content and the links, and for Facebook as well. Julsy, any last thoughts?
That's all. I can't wait moving forward to see how things turn out, who's siding with who. And I'm actually more and more getting, I've kind of liked Bruno from the very beginning, and I've loved Godfrey, so I'm kind of rooting for the guys, minus Zach. Zach is hot to look at, and obviously a good kisser, but Zach's got to go, and we got to get behind Bruno and Godfrey. But Sarah and Brittany are holding their own well too. So
I was gonna say, in a perfect scenario, those could be our final four.
Yeah,
in a perfect scenario, right?
Right.
All right, Julsy. So we'll see you here for Pop Goes Big Brother Canada again, not next week, the following week. And again, we'll tweet out the show when it is. So keep an eye on our Facebook groups, keep an eye on our Twitters, everyone, and make sure to follow us to keep in the loop of when the show's going to be on. Julsy, as always, it was a pleasure, and we'll see you soon.
See ya.
Take care.